Welcome and welcome back to Vitu Vidogo. Today we are having a special show. What is it about? Well, without further introduction, we are on heavy equipment machinery. This is construction equipment, like 101. Welcome. One of the equipment, the heavy construction equipment that I'm really fascinated about, and has been for quite a long time since I've been onto construction sites, way before even I was in the construction industry, was the excavator. Well, what's the excavator? Well, this is one of those equipment that when you look at it, not only does it have what we call the chain tracks, the chain tracks, those are what enable it to move or maneuver on the rough terrain on a construction site. The tracks, you can see that these tracks, are synonymous also with the battle tanks. If you are looking at the battle tanks, when you are in a battlefield, when the wheels are not just enough, the wheels cannot maneuver rough terrain. That's why they have the chain tracks. So the same thing, the same concept of the chains have been attached onto the excavator to make it maneuver the rough and tough terrain. Now, the other feature on the excavator is the long arm. This long arm, usually controlled by hydraulic, and sophisticated wiring, and engineering, because it tends to look like an extended arm, like the human hand. So it has an arm, and at the very end, you can have three types of equipment. One, you can have a bucket. This bucket can scoop up loose soil, can scoop up loose dirt, because now it will be trying to make, like, let's say, for instance, you are scooping out black cotton soil so that you can lay in a foundation. You can make a foundation, or you can make room for backfill. So what you will use the bucket to scoop and maybe to load dump trucks to take the dirt out of the construction site. On the other hand, should the material on the ground be tough, you find solid rock, then you can switch the bucket, and in its place you put what we call the breaker drill. So the breaker drill, now this is used literally just to break. The drill works like a hammer. Mostly is a hammer. It just keeps on hitting and hitting and hitting a rock, chipping it away, breaking it into pieces, and now it makes it easier for scooping and removing that unneeded material in the ground, so that you can make room for the structure that you want to put up. It could be a road, you want to lay a road. It could be now the foundation that you want to put up for the structure. So that is where now the breaker comes in play. Now, the other interesting feature now that I've observed now is when they put a claw, they combine the bucket and a claw. So now, at this point, the excavator can lift heavy material, it can lift boulders, it can lift blocks and remove them out of the way. It can lift trees, or dead branches, or heavy material that can otherwise take a long time to get rid of on a construction site. So that is one of the things about excavators I add, And you may wonder, how come this excavator can pick such heavy weight with an arm without tipping over? Well, here's the thing about excavators. You see the behind the excavator? That is a weight. It may be colored, but that is solid weight. Or, you know, they can put in lead there or another a dense form of material that can counter the weight that is trying to take on the other side. So when it tries to scoop it, the counterweight now, it works against the material and it makes it easier for the excavator to pull out the dirt. The other feature that I've seen with the excavator now, the new ones that are coming up, are the behind is not extended. They're trying to make it a bit compact. Why? Because, you know, as you go on, construction differs on different sites. Maybe you have a construction on the side of the road. So the more compact excavator can maneuver on a tight spot, meaning if it turns, well, the anterior or the posterior rather, the posterior or the behind or the nyash of the excavator, well, cannot swipe, cannot go into the road or cannot go, you know, it's compact and it makes the workplace a bit neat, and it's also easier, you know, to transport. So that's the thing about excavators. You know, excavators, they really fascinate me and they are really exciting. And of course, you know, because of because of the nature of how it maneuvers, you know, the trucks, the chains, you know, it's just amazing to see how it can go up and down on rough terrain. The next equipment is the wheel loader. Now, the wheel loader, unlike the excavator, now you see it has wheels. It has huge wheels, and it doesn't have the long arm the excavator has. And in its place, it has a bucket that can scoop from, you know, from the feet or from the body of the wheel loader or the equipment, and it scoops outwards. Whereas the excavator scoops from the outside inwards. Well, the wheel loader is used for loading. You see, it's so simple. Like the wheel loader is just used for loading material from a job site or from a material, you know, from the quarry, is used mostly to load. Now, the thing about the wheel loaders, they are fitted with weighing, the weighing scale. Now, if you go to a quarry and you are trying to pick up material, you know, sometimes we talk with the loaders and you have to tell them how much material you need to take, right? It could be 10 tons, it could be 20, it could be 30. Well, it depends with the bucket. So if a bucket has a capacity of maybe 5 tons and you want 10 tons, then that means the loader will have to scoop the first one and try to see how much he got. If he has like 5 tons or 4.5, then he will load you that, and now he will work backwards. He will put in 10 tons and weigh and put it for you. So he may have like the 4.5, it becomes 5.5. He has a deficit of 5.5. He will scoop again, and maybe he may have another like maybe 4.5, and he will try to scoop again just a little material and try to have like something like 0.5, you know, not to overload you. So that's the thing about the wheel loaders. They are very, you know, they are very crucial. And again, they move faster, they maneuver faster than their counterparts, the excavator, which has the chain tracks. The other thing about the wheel loader now, You can put down the bucket, and you can also use it like a giant, forklift. You can put in the forklift there, or you can put down those forklift arms and you put in an extended, an extension of the arm. Now this one usually has a chain, and you can use the chain to hook up heavy things, like construction blocks. So usually now, what I'm seeing is, instead of trying to buy so many equipment, you are having all these manufacturers trying to make sure that their equipment are versatile. They can work in they can serve different purposes within a construction field. And I think that is quite commendable. The other heavy construction equipment is the rigid hauler. The rigid hauler, this is the heavy earth movers. Now, you find mostly in the mining sector. So they don't get on the road. And when they are on the road, they're usually on a flatbed. They are being taken maybe for service outside the mining. So these are synonymous in the quarries, sand, gravel, and even the oil sands or the oil fields here in Alberta. So the heavy haulers, they are easier to operate, and the way they are designed, they have like a V-shaped bucket so that when you load them, the material does not fall off. And then it's also easier for them to offload quickly. It dumps the load so fast, it just tips and the load is out. And they run in the pit all day, because again, they are moving the heavy dirt, and they feed the big machines that usually crush, the crushers. They usually crush and sift the different materials that are needed, So that is, they run up and down in the quarries. And they have even a huge capacities. They can carry 50 to 60 tons of material. Isn't that impressive? The other construction equipment is the grader. The grader, this is usually used on dirt roads. This is that equipment that has, a blade on the side. And just as its name suggests, grader, it grades, you may have very bumpy, like, road terrain or road surface, or, because of, especially the dirt roads, usually they fall victim quickly to the elements, whether it is raining, it's too sunny, and then the effects of having all these cars or, heavy traffic going on them, it chips on the surface of the road. Then it creates bumps, it creates those holes, those potholes. So that is why now the grader is needed. So the grader usually comes in and smoothens it. It kind of evens the surface. It removes the grooves and evens the surface. And sometimes it also helps in the spread of gravel. If you bring other material now so that you can pad the road as necessary, like maram or the crush, then the grader is for you. Now, right after you have a grader, you can bring in the roller, the vibrator. Now, there are two kinds of vibrators. Now, the roller vibrator, there's one that has knuckles. The one that has knuckles is called the sheep foot vibrator. It has that impression of sheep walking on dirt or a mud, or, that's why it's called the sheep foot. And usually the sheep foot vibrator, it kind of like presses, the loose material into the ground. So this is usually used at the on the very early stages of making a road, or when you're trying to pave a road, you're trying to have that material compacted into the, into the ground. So that now you ease the process of when you are laying, or you're trying to bring other material that make the surface of the road, then you will have a firm or a solid foundation. It cannot be washed away quick. So the other now, the vibrator with the smooth drum, is called the roller now. Now the roller usually is used at the very last stages of, of this road, when you have like of the tarmac road, because now you want to have a smooth surface. So now the roller comes in, is a vibrator, and it compacts the tarmac. So it smoothens it, because now the drum is smooth. It's not a sheep foot. So it kind of keeps a very smooth and level surface of the road. So these are some of the equipment that we have on this segment. And hey, let us know on the comment which of those equipment do you think is quite impressive. So keep on keeping on, and thank you so much for keeping up with Vitu Vidogo. And until next time, take care of yourself.